Hello and welcome to another episode of Cruise Kibitz. My name is Siobhan and I am from Parkers on the Go.
My name is Kiki and I'm from Team Reese Travels.
And I am Cheryl, also known as Sig Cruiser.
And today we have a hot topic for you guys. Y'all sit back, buckle your seats. I know everybody be in their feelings about this one, but we're going to have a discussion because listen, everybody has their own opinion and everybody deserves to be heard. But I think it's something that we need to talk about. Let's talk about tipping or prepaying the gratuities on a cruise ship. I think Cheryl has something that she wants to say. She looks so ready to go
with, just in case I need it,
Listen, let's just have an open discussion about it. Let's just talk about some of the things that people are saying about tipping or not tipping or prepaying gratuities versus not on a cruise ship. How do you guys feel, or what are some of the things that you've actually heard regarding those subjects?
Well, let's explain first, because maybe somebody that's listening doesn't quite understand how the tipping works.
Perfect.
When you go onto a cruise ship, you have to pay gratuities, though, and I use the word have loosely, but when you go on a cruise ship, you're going to be charged for gratuities. You're either going to be pre-charged for it, you can pay for it in advance, or it's going to show up on your bill while you're on the ship. And so there is drama around. Some people choose to pull those gratuities off of their bill and not pay them for whatever reason. Maybe it's because they didn't feel like their service was good, or maybe it was that they tipped the person directly and didn't feel like they needed to pay above, or maybe they stayed in their room the whole time and didn't feel like they needed to tip nobody else but the room steward. Multiple different reasons why that happens, but you will have tips that are added onto your bill and people have the option to pull them off. So that's where the drama starts.
Yes.
That option.
Yes. So I will say this. As far as we are concerned, we like to prepay gratuities and then as we go on the ship. And a lot of people do not like to go that route, like Kiki said. A lot of people just don't like that route. They would rather do it in person, but that's our personal preference. That's what we like to do, because you may not get the same service on every ship that you go on. And everybody may not deserve, not saying they don't all work hard, but maybe one person does deserve a little bit more than the other. And I think a lot of the reason that people are upset about it is because the prepaid gratuities is kind of chopped up in little itty bitty pieces and split amongst everybody on the ship, and they feel like their particular cabin store or server or bartender is not getting a fair amount of tipping. So that's where we are on it. How about you guys?
Well, as far as there's so many, I don't know which point I want to speak on first, but I'll start off. I treat it as, the cruise industry employees, they are a part of any service industry. They are in the hotel and hospitality, industry. Any industry that I deal with that is providing a service, I do, provide tips, whether it's at a restaurant, whether it's my hairstylist or my loctician, or even, delivery people. I mean, there are so many, different people. When I did get laundry service, when I was living in Macon, Georgia, I used to take my clothes out to get laundry service, and I would tip, the people who, clean my clothes. So to me, any type of service industry, and this is for me, I tip. Now, I have heard the argument of, well, we don't know if, the money is going to the right people. Now, I can't quote it, but I've seen like a list of how the gratuities are broken down and provided to different team members on a ship. Now, whether it's getting to the people or not, I mean, I know that's an argument, that people use, but I don't know. It's like, well, I mean, how are you going to prove either one way other or the other, whether
Right.
Yep.
arguing it or not? So it's just going to be what, for some reason, that you believe, that an industry is doing. I believe if the company is saying, this is what they're doing. Now, I know they're corrupt companies or whatever, but if they are saying, giving me a list and saying that, this is what who's getting what. To me, I have no choice but to believe them unless I, see otherwise. And I believe that if a company is have this list that's public, and if there are team members that are not getting gratuities across the board, I think they would probably speak up, or I don't know, maybe I'm being
Yeah.
Mhm.
so I know you hear, like an employee here or there, or somebody that used to work for a company here or there, but to me, I would think if there's a large amount of people, speaking out and saying this is not happening, I think that to me would indicate a problem. So that's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
my opinion. So
I agree. I will either tip in advance through, the pay through the cruise line where they take the gratuities in advance, or I let them take them while I'm on the ship where it adds on to your total every day. I'm inclined to believe that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. I feel like there would be a whole lot of legal ramifications on the company's end if they were not doing what they've put in writing that they've told us that they're doing with our
Right.
money. So I'm inclined to believe that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. And then I'll share this too. The first cruise that we did post pandemic, we we were talking to our server, and at that point there was still what do you call it, I want to think minimums, but not minimums, but capacity limits for the
Mhm.
ships because they weren't filling to capacity because of COVID protocols. And he was sharing how, you know there was a capacity limit. There was probably 40% of the ship on there. They were still getting the same amount of tips that they were getting when it was 100% of people on there, like the same amount from each person. But that's 60% less, right? If there's only 40% of
Hmm.
the normal
Yeah.
passengers. So that's every server that's on this ship is getting 60% less than what they would normally get. And then if you add in there that some people may be choosing not to go ahead and pay the gratuities, how much less is that?
Right.
That really made me think about how much the cruise industry was impacted by the pandemic and coming back from it, and just your income gone all of a sudden, and then you come back and you only getting half of it. Like that's
Yeah.
huge. So
Yeah.
hmm
That is
I'm
very
I'm
true.
inclined to tip all the time because they do amazing. The way that they service the rooms, the dinners, everything is just amazing to me. And so I'm always inclined to tip, and then I'll go above and beyond if I'm
hmm
getting above and beyond service. So
hmm
yeah.
Now, have you ever been on a ship with someone, or have you personally ever been in a position where you just did not tip, or you took away your prepaid gratuities?
I have not. I've never been with anyone that took them away, and I've never taken them away myself. I've seen people in the line saying they wanted to take them off, but hey, that's your business. My person getting their tip, so
I've only been. I will say, yeah, I've been disgusted once because
Yeah.
I've had somebody, a guy who for some reason was bragging that he was going to take off his gratuities. He was going to on the last day. He always goes to take off the gratuities, and it was just because he wanted the money. He didn't feel like he needed to pay gratuities. So
Mm.
it wasn't like a particular reason, like he didn't get good service or anything like that. It was just something that he set out and planned to do and did every cruise because he was able to. He just went down and took off the gratuities because he just didn't want to pay them. That's it. So that's but that was the only time.
Wow.
And even when he told me that, it's just again, I'm like, if that's what you want to do, that's you. But it just for me, that's not a choice that I would make. So I don't know.
So I made a choice and I actually did it.
Uh huh.
Yeah.
I have done it. I've done it once. And the only reason why I did it, for everybody to jump me, the only reason why I did it is because Brandon got COVID on the ship. And because he got COVID and we were in the cabin together, I didn't receive any services. I couldn't go eat in the dining room.
Oh,
Um, I had to service my own room. I had to change my own sheets. I had to clean up behind myself. When we were on a 6 day, 7 day cruise, and he got COVID 2 days in. So
mm,
um, I did leave a tip for our steward for the couple of days that he did tend to my cabin, or if we had room service delivered, I left a tip for room service. But I had to basically take. I could not be out in public areas and sit down and have dinner with my mom and my daughter, who was also on the ship. So I was really confined to. At that point, I was on a solo cruise because I couldn't be with anybody.
Yeah.
mhm,
Um, so yeah, that's the one and only time I did it. But I did in turn tip the people I came in contact with.
mhm.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that makes sense.
See, you
Mhm.
don't like that. See, I knew it was
For me, I know. I think it makes sense.
you.
I think
Okay,
it
okay.
makes
I was like,
sense
Cheryl's
for
like,
me.
No, I mean, because honestly, if you think about it, I mean, the gratuity is for the service. You're showing
Mhm.
appreciation for the service. Well, if you're not getting that service,
Right.
then you're, I mean, you're entitled
Yeah.
to not pay. I mean, you're not, what are you showing appreciation to? So, so
Right.
I think that,
Right.
like
Right.
you said, I think that
Right.
makes sense. So,
Yeah. That makes perfect sense to me. You know, if I go to a restaurant to pick up food and I decide to cancel my order, I'm not gonna give a tip anyway if I cancel my order. Like I didn't get the
Right.
service. So
right.
like that's how it works. But there's so much just stigma around it. And that's why it's so important to just mind your business sometimes. Because you never know why people are pulling them off or why they've chosen. Like I said, people choose to tip directly sometimes. They prefer to do that.
Mhm.
And I think that's acceptable. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I was in line for guest services once, and I heard a man say he wanted to take off the gratuities for his 2 year old, and I got it, but I didn't. Um, I did it because I felt like the 2 year old still staying in that cabin. I'm pretty sure the 2 year old is not just not going anywhere outside of that bed. They're going to be doing something. Your cabin steward is still cleaning up behind you, or you're still sitting down in the restaurant and or in the dining room, and somebody's still serving that child food. It's all that stuff is still there. Also, maybe they should have a gratuity level based on age,
Mhm.
because I can't see paying the same amount of gratuity for a 2 year old versus paying for what we're going to do. Because even though the 2 year old is only going to do so much, they're still going to be doing.
Mhm.
So maybe that should be something that they could probably consider, is just maybe a different amount of gratuities for very young cruisers.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
mean, I feel like they still do things for kids. Like you said, they'll still bring the crib there, the diaper genie, like that kind of stuff is still happening for small kids. So I don't know. I feel like they get service too. They just
and
get
maybe
it.
I'm not want to talk on that because I don't know. I've never cruised with anybody that young, so I don't really know exactly everything they do. I know they do bring cribs and all that stuff, like you said, but I mean, I just know they're still a part of the cruise and they're still kind of utilizing that
Yeah.
service. So you know what I mean?
My son, one of those cruises, RJ got sick. Like at the end of the cruise, he had some kind of stomach bug, and that's where we had to have that guy coming in and change them sheets like 4 times in one night. Baby, I was just like, yeah, take it. I know it was rough. I know it was rough. I'm sorry. Yeah, just take the money. But it was
Oh my
it was it
goodness.
was awful. But we, I mean, no, it's okay, RJ. He said, I'm sorry for doing that.
Oh.
Okay, RJ. But that was something that
Yeah.
our steward had to help us deal with, right? We had to get clean sheets every time my son
Yeah.
got sick. So in some ways, I feel like they've had to do more for my
Yeah.
child than they have had to do for me. the turning down the beds and stuff like that is different when it's kid. Like all of it is
Yeah.
service.
So, and
So yeah.
that's, but of course, I don't have kids and never travel with a cruise with a young person. But what would be the difference? Okay, let's say if it's Kiki in the cabin versus if it's a young child. So, what is the difference? What would the child be doing less of or require less service for that Kiki wouldn't? Uh, what would the service needs? What would be the difference in the service needs
The
between the
service needs.
child?
Yeah. I don't think it would be less of a need. I feel like it would be more of a need in some
Right.
ways. Like
Right.
I feel like things with kids is so unpredictable. You just never know what's gonna be the need of a child in a room.
This is
And
true.
yeah, and like people travel with kids, people travel with, other adults who have special needs. They travel with children who have special needs. All of those
Hey,
things
they
play
travel
into
with dogs. I've seen
yeah,
a lot of dogs on these cruise ships recently. Like, so
yeah.
who do the dogs get charged for something? Like, somebody got to on pet stations.
Yeah. It's to me when I try to think of what the differences are, that there's not even enough to justify not
Not
paying
doing
for
it.
it. Yeah. Because even when I think of people with small babies, I mean, I guess they wouldn't do much in the dining room, but I know that they'll bring, the diaper genies and stuff to your room and take care of those kind of things. And that's stuff that
Oh,
your
you
room
take
steward
care
is
of the
doing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You
So
know what?
I,
I didn't think about that. I didn't think about it that far because I've never had to experience cruising with someone as young. So, I mean, you're 100% right. What is the service level needs of, you know, why would you reduce it or not pay it at all? So now, see, y'all converted me to team, pay the $7.
Right. Hey, I can tell you this too. Your room get a lot messier when you got kids in there.
okay.
You have to travel with a lot more things when you have
Yeah.
kids. So it's more stuff for them to have to clean up in your room.
Okay.
So
So,
Okay.
I have a question. Now, have you heard that, okay, well, we shouldn't have to pay gratuities because the cruise lines should pay them more? And what do you think about that?
I agree.
I
I
100%
feel
agree.
like the cruise line should pay better. I do. But I also feel like unfortunately it's not like that right now. And if
Hmm.
I decide that I'm not going to pay my gratuities because the cruise line should pay it, that means my server doesn't get the tip, and I'm not okay
Right.
with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I agree. I agree 100%. They should pay them better, and I'm still going to tip.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Service
Across,
industry in general, not even just
yeah.
cruising.
And
Service
that,
Yeah.
industry.
that was going to be the follow up. That was going to be the follow up to that, because isn't that in general, like if you go to a restaurant, don't waiters and waitresses, they make less because they're expected to get gratuities?
They do.
Mm-hmm. They
Hmm.
do.
Yes. Significantly less.
Uh-huh.
Because they're supposed to make that money up in tips. But then if we all go in and decide that we're not tipping because the service industry should pay better, then they don't get the money. So it's
Well, maybe people look at just playing devil's advocate.
Uh-huh.
Not saying this is what I think, but let's just play devil's advocate. Make people feel like, say for instance, you call in your food and you got to go pick it up. Are you going to tip them because you had to go pick up your food? They still made your food.
I,
so go ahead, Cheryl. No, you go, Cheryl.
you know what? I do for curbside or pickup, I do tip, but I tip less. So
Mm,
I may do like 10% instead of 20%. Because yeah,
right.
and I do that because yeah, they still prepared the food. And also because I know it's the service industry. And I know the
Mm-hmm.
service industry, they tips are a part of their, expected wages. So I still
Right.
tip, but I tip less than if I'm sitting in the restaurant and they're constantly serving me. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep. That same here. I still tip, but I tip less. But I used to be one that would not tip at all if I was picking my order up to go. Because I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm picking it up to go. What I'm tipping for? Like I'm just grabbing a bag and walking out. Like, but then the pandemic hit and everybody was doing carry out and
Yeah.
curbside.
Yeah.
takeout. And then I was like, okay, you know, I'm thinking this through now. I should be tipping. People are still putting my order together. They still got to bag it up. They doing it for me and 500 other people today because can't nobody sit in
Right.
the restaurant and eat. Let me just go ahead and give the tip. And so I started doing it then, and since then I've continued it.
Yeah, and especially now, and since the pandemic, because now you have grocery stores where they have curbside service, and the employees now are bringing your groceries to your car. I tip. I mean, what if we stop tipping for that, or the Instacart people?
Right.
Tip your local Instacart driver. I'm just saying because it's so disrespectful to order 100 things and then tip them $2. Like they still have to shop your. It's the same thing.
You know what? What you said, because you did a vlog on it, and that surprised me because I use Instacart a lot, and I always tipped. And to know that people will do that and then take back the tip. Wow. I never knew. I never would have even thought to do that. So.
But the crazy thing is, a lot of people don't tip at all. They'll just whatever the service fee is that Instacart pays. That's all you get on some of the orders. A lot of people just don't tip at all, and it'll say the amount of the service plus no tip. So, but yeah, they'll entice you to take it. They'll give you a high tip amount. And then they have 2 hours to lower that tip, and a lot of them go right back in and drop the tip.
That's so sad. That's terrible.
So, as somebody on the side of tipping, especially when I'm trying to get my cruise budget up, that's why tipping is very important. You should always take care of people who take care of you. I understand everybody has different methods. Your method may not be my method. It may not be Cheryl Still Cruiser's method. It may not be Kiki from Team Research Travel method. But make sure you take care of your service area people because they are taking care of you. You guys, do you think we did a good job with handling this hot topic tonight?
I think so.
I think so. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, we need you guys. Tell us how was the hot topic, and maybe if you liked it, maybe we'll throw a few more hot topics in here every now and then.
Or send us your hot topics that you want us to talk about. Let us know. Drop that in the comments of this video and let us know what hot topic subjects you want to talk about in the cruising industry or any industry as far as travel is concerned. What hot topic issues have you seen? Yeah. So Kiki, do you want to tell how they can get in contact with us?
Absolutely. So you can reach us on Instagram via DMs on the Cruise Kibitz Instagram page. You can also reach out to any of our individual pages. That's Team Reese Travels, Sick Cruiser, or Parkers on the Go. You can also email us at cruisekibitz@gmail.com. Or, like Siobhan just said, comment down below on the YouTube video so that we can see your comments and we can interact with you. And if you have something you want us to talk about, definitely let us know that because we want to talk about what y'all want to talk about.
All right. And Cheryl, give me those magic words, girl.
Girl, I think we need to call this a podcast before we get shot.
Because this one could have ended in a fight. We did it, Joe.
Okay. All right. Go up, team. We're going to do better next time. No more. All right, guys. You have a great day and happy cruising.
Happy cruising.
Cheryl, Kiki, and myself, Siobhan, would like to thank everyone who has supported Cruise Kibitz thus far. We are going to take a holiday break, so we will see you guys in January of 2024. Stay tuned for new episodes coming soon, and happy holidays.